So there are quite a few people who have asked me before, hey, which one is your favorite DTC or direct-to-consumer chef knife?
In the blue corner, we have, in the blue handle, Misen 2.0. And then in the black corner, we have the black handle, Made in Chef Knife.
Let's get ready to rumble!
If you're new to the channel, if you can go ahead and show some love, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, it'll mean the world to me and it'll help me support all of this madness. Now, let me start off by saying both of these knives were sent to me for previous collaborations, but this video itself is independent of those, and I am not getting paid by either one of these companies to do this video. First, let's take a look at where these knives are made. Both Misen and Misen are US based companies. The Misen is made in France and the Misen is made in China. Now hold on a quick second before you go, well, that's an easy choice. I'm just going to go with the Misen because it's not manufactured in China. Okay, look guys, if you have been following me for a while, you know I don't have the negative connotation towards made in China product, because I think the whole negative connotation towards product made in China is a bunch of bullshit. So when a company partners up with a manufacturer, their initial contact and their initial partnership would include a quality standard that they set for the manufacturer, so the manufacturer understands what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. After they manufacture the product, there are final inspections by the company itself. If the company finds the product to be subpar or not meeting their quality standard, they can reject it, or they can work with the manufacturer to correct whatever issues that they have until it meets their standard. So when people buy from US based companies that have their products manufactured in China, and the consumer itself experience that really bad quality or low in quality because it is quote unquote manufactured in China, it's not because it's manufactured in China. It's just because it's a shitty company and they have bad quality control and they don't care about what sort of quality gets passed down to their consumer. Now, with all that being said, do not mistake in this like I am against made in US products, because I am all for supporting made in USA and supporting your local businesses, because it helps our economy thrive. And at the end, I live in the US. If the economy is good, that means my life is good. So I also support made in USA products, but I just wanted to get that out there so it just, kind of clears the air, because I feel like a lot of people don't understand that just because something is made in China doesn't mean it's bad. Because, your Samsung phones, your Apple computers, and a lot of other products that are really high quality are all made in China. Now, the next topic we want to cover is price. The price of the Misen is $99, and from the time that I started following them, you rarely see any kind of promos or discounts for this knife. So I would say the knife will be for $99. Now let's move on to the Misen. The Misen is a $65 knife, all right? And not only that, Misen, they're constantly running promos and discount. They're usually, 15, 20% off with free shipping. And a lot of times during the holidays, during big holidays like Christmas and things like that, they have up to 25% off. So you can actually pick up one of these for about $50 with free shipping. That means if you pick this Misen up during the sale, you can actually pick two Misen up for the price of one Misen. So on the topic of pricing, I would say that the Misen wins. The next topic we want to cover is the quality and fit and finish of the knives. Now, if you just take a quick glance over both of these knives, their fit and finish are both really nice, especially for the price point that they're at. Both of these knives, you get a lot for what you pay for. But when you take a microscopic look at these knives, so probably not for your average home cook, probably more for like a knife nerd like me, where we actually pay attention to these small details, I would have to give the point to Misen, because there are some grinding points on the bolster for the Misen that looks really, really sleek. And also, when you compare both of the knives' thinness, the Misen is thin. Like, it's a very thin knife. But when you look at the craftsmanship of the Misen, this sucker is like paper thin. And I love a really thin knife. So the point for the fit and finish, by a very small margin, I'll give it to Misen. Next topic, let's talk about the comfort of the knife. The comfort of the knife, I would say, is more of a personal preference thing. So for me, I would have to pick the Misen, just because they have a slightly thicker handle, and I actually like the more squared off edges on a knife because it doesn't wiggle around as much, and because it has a thicker handle, when I do the pinch grip, it doesn't move around at all when I'm holding the knife. Whereas with the Misen, because there's just a little bit thinner around this bolster area, when I hold the knife in the pinch grip, it wiggles a little bit. So that's why I prefer the Misen. So the point for comfort goes to the Misen for me. Alright, the next topic we want to talk about is the blade material itself. The Misen is made with Oz 10 steel, and the Maiden is made with nitrogen treated German steel, which is X50CR MOV15 steel. And for me, I would have to go with the Misen. The Oz 10 steel I just like a lot more than X50CR MOV15 steel, just because it has a higher carbon content and it takes on a finer edge. So for blade material, the point would have to go to Misen. Now that we've talked about the blade material itself, let's talk about the edge retention. The edge retention that I've personally experienced for both of these knives, I would have to say that the Misen's Oz 10 steel is superior to the German steel by Maiden. From the time period that I've owned both of these knives, I find myself having to hone and strop the Maiden a lot more than I have to hone and strop the Misen. So I would have to say for edge retention purpose, the Misen definitely gets the point. Next thing we want to talk about is blade profile. As you guys can see here, both of these knives have very different profiles. Let's start off with the Misen. The Misen has a profile called a hybrid profile, which is a mixture between Western and Japanese style knives, which has a flatter profile on it. Whereas the Maiden has a more traditional German style profile, which has a much more pronounced belly on the knife, which has this curve on the knife. Me personally, I like the Misen more just because it has more flat surface, a flatter profile that allows chop cuts to be better. And it also has a good enough curvature to it to still do rock cuts. Whereas the Maiden has very little flat points to it. Like the curve is very gradual, which is really nice craftsmanship, but it is much more suited for those who rock a lot when they cut. Okay? But because blade profiles is such a personal thing that fits everyone differently, because everyone has different cutting styles, so I have to say it's a tie between the two knives, because it would be unfair for me to give a point to the Misen just because it's a personal preference thing. So I would say both of the knives get a point in this one. So the last topic we want to talk about is ease of maintenance or ease of sharpening. Now, I would have to say that the ease of maintenance and sharpening will have to go to the Misen, just because the Misen requires less honing, stropping, and things like that. And also when you do sharpen the knife, for the Oz 10 takes on a finer edge compared to the German steel. But if you're talking about just sharpenability for both of these knives, I would have to say that will be a tie, because both the Oz 10 and the German steel are extremely easy to maintain on a whetstone. Like 1000, 3000 grit for maintenance can keep a very sharp edge on both of these knives. Alright, now that we add up all the points, you guys can clearly see the Misen is the winner. And also for me personally, I also prefer the Misen over the Maiden. But that's not saying that the Maiden is a bad knife. Just because it has less points doesn't make it a bad knife. It's just because, for me, I just like the Misen better because it fits me better. It fits my cooking style better. It fits my cutting style better. The chef knife is an extremely personal object, and it's a tool. It's your right hand in the kitchen. So whichever one of these knives fit your cooking style better or your cutting style better, that makes it the more superior knife. We strip away all of the personal biases and personal preferences and everything else, and you just look at the price point, edge retention, and material, the Misen is still beating out the Maiden. You can buy 2 Misens for the price of 1 Maiden while it's on sale. The Oz 10 is a superior steel. It takes on a finer edge. And edge retention, it stays sharp longer. It requires less maintenance. So I would have to say, even with all personal preferences aside, the Misen is still the winner between the two knives. Alright, so this concludes the Misen versus Maiden video. I hope you guys like it. If you guys do like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. It'll help me support all of this madness. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.